What is up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. Pat here, back with another video. So today's topic is about the state of retro video game prices. Has this retro video game bubble finally burst? Well, let's talk about it. So whether you're a reseller or a collector, you probably noticed lately that retro video game prices are on the decline. Now, this is something I'm well aware of because I'm always selling things, whether it's on Facebook or eBay or Mercari. I also do multiple conventions a year. Quick story, this was the first time that when I did a convention in February, then I did another one at the end of July. So almost 6 months. In that span, as I was getting things together and going over prices, I actually lowered the price of probably 99.9% of the items that I was selling. Everything was down, and not just by a couple of dollars, but by $5, $10, $15, $20. Wow. So in general, I think if you look on price charting, which is something, again, as a reseller that I'm constantly doing, I need to be up on these things because that's what I like to do on the side, just for fun or to make extra cash. But I've just noticed that every time that I'm listing something, I'm shocked at how prices have come down. If you look at price charting, and I've done a video about price charting, go back, I will link that in the description if you'd like to see it. It's not a perfect way of getting information on video game prices, but it is flawed to an extent, but for the most part, it's a good tool to use. So I'm not gonna get into all that, but if you follow price charting, they do track the sale of used, complete, brand new, sealed, and graded video games. And they go back, in some cases, like 10, 15 years. Some are less than that. But the point is, they show a graph that you can follow and you can track it. And most games, just about every game you can think of, even the very expensive ones, they're on the decline. Now, some games are more affected than others. There's certain games that are always going to be expensive, like your Little Samsons and your Stadium Events and your Panzer Dragoons, things of that nature. But for the most part, most games are on the decline. Now, I could just look up some random games. For instance, like Metroid Prime for GameCube. A year ago, that game was complete worth around $40. Now that game is in the low 20s complete. So that's almost a 50% decline. You look at some other games like one that I just sold recently on Mercari, Goemon's Great Adventure. I think I sold that for a little over $100. A year ago, that game was over $150. Again, that's 30-some% decline from almost a year ago. Look up just any game and you're gonna notice that it's on the decline. So what is the main causes of this? Why is this happening? Well, I'm gonna give you my opinion of that, and I've not watched anyone else's video. I've been told by friends of mine when I said I was gonna do this video that some larger channels have just started to jump on this, which, you know, things like that happen. These topics go in cycles, but I've not watched those. I don't know what they said. I don't wanna be influenced by what they said, and I'm not jumping and making this video because a larger channel made this video. I'm not that guy. Here's my assessment of why this is happening. First and foremost, retro video game prices were just insane to begin with. They had gotten way out of hand. And I think that people were just tired of paying what people were asking for some of these common games. Things needed to be reset. And I think at a certain point, people just stopped buying some of this stuff, and that causes a shift, and eventually things start to come down. People have something listed for 6 months, they lower it and they lower it, and then everybody kind of follows suit because they don't want to be the only person that's $20 or $30 higher for a certain game. Example of these prices just getting insane. So I had a friend that I work with, and about a year and a half ago, he was going for a complete GameCube set. And when he got to about 30 games from getting that full set, he realized that this is not doable. He hit a wall. he basically just stopped this collecting, and he sold all the GameCube games. I mean, he had literally was 30 some games away and just realized that this is not worth it. This is unattainable. It's crazy to spend $40 for a just common GameCube sports game that should be $5 to $10 and to pay $40 for. So the second reason is pretty simple. It's the economy. When hamburgers $4 a pound, when gas prices are almost $4 a gallon, depending on where you live, the bare essentials that we as people need to live are so much more important than spending $500 for some CD game that's going to get disc rot in a few years. Those things are just so much more important than that. Another quick story, I was at a convention this past July. I had a friend that I work with that was selling a bunch of rare Atari Jaguar stuff, and he didn't do that well. Now, it didn't mean that what he had wasn't good stuff. It just meant that the market is just down. A lot of this stuff is expensive and they're niche items, and you know, a $500 Jaguar game is just not that important when you're trying to put food on the table, buy school supplies, just get by in the world today. You know, the economy is driving a lot of this. And the third main reason, in my opinion, is emulation. It's just become so easy to emulate basically every game that you've ever wanted to play, and do it in a very good way. When you have systems like the Analog Pocket, just you could go to Walmart and there's going to be at the Snickers bars and all that, there's going to be an emulation device there that's got some unlicensed ROMs on it. You know, there's a new Ambernick released every frickin' week.
I can't take much more of this.
People have just, I think, gotten to where I'm not going to spend $150 for this game when I can play a very good version of it for basically for free. Just buy this one device and download everything onto it. Those are the main reasons. So what do we take from all that information? You know, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? As someone who's a reseller, I still think this is a good thing. You know, I do this for fun. I don't rely on this money for anything. I do it because I like the action. I like the interaction with other people. The little money that I make affords other things, whether it be, you know, other toys or whatever, or beer. It doesn't matter. My point is, I don't really care if the video game market tanks. I'm also a collector as well, and I'm adding little things here and there, but I don't really care if the market tanks. I think it's a good thing for everybody. I think things were getting just insane and out of hand, and there needed to be a reset. So right now, if you're a collector and there's some games that you've been wanting to pick up, I think now is a good time to do it. They could go down lower. I think if you were to ask me and to speculate what's going to happen by the end of 2024 next year, I do think things will come down another 10 to 20%. I really do. There's going to be some spikes where things go up a little bit and they go down. If Metal Jesus comes out with a Hidden Gems video, certain prices of games are going to go up. It's just a fact. But they're going to level off again, and I think they're going to come back down. That's just the way things are. But I think we're getting to a point where we were 3 and 4 years ago on certain games, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing for everybody. Now, if you're a reseller and you've got a huge inventory of stuff, does that mean that you should just sell everything right now and put best offer on everything and take a lot less than you normally would? No, I don't think so. I think that you should look at what you have. You know your margins, you know what you spent for all this stuff. You should think about, do I want to hold on to this? Is this stuff that I want to keep, or is this stuff that I don't have an attachment to? And then decide there. Also look at the charts, look at price charting, and just see if you see this trend of certain games that are going down, down, down. Just decide, do I want to ride this out and see if it goes back up, or do I want to get out before things get any lower? If you're good at what you do, you obviously bought this stuff for a good price to begin with, so you're gonna make money either way. That's the way I look at it. I know what my margins are. I'm not buying things with barely a little profit there normally. So even if things completely just crash, I'm still gonna be okay with the inventory that I have. and I'm not worried at all about that. My advice would be, just collect what you love and spend what you can afford. The last convention that I was at, actually the last two that I was at, there was a buzz going around. Everyone that I would talk to that would come to my table, I would be like, how's it going out there? You finding anything? And everyone said the same thing. Prices are just too high.
The rent is too damn high.
It's crazy what people are asking for even common games. And I would agree with that. Things are just too high, especially at conventions. So my advice to you would be to not buy something that you know at a convention, even though it's right there in front of you, even though this person might be a nice guy behind the table. Just don't spend $50 over price charting just because it's in front of you. Go to eBay and buy that for a lot less. You've got buyer protection, and there's no reason why you can't just wait for that game to arrive in 7 or 8 days. If there's an issue with it, then bring it up with eBay. I don't need something right then and there just to say that I bought it at this convention. That's the way I feel. Now, you might not agree with that, and some resellers might not like that statement. Uh-oh! There's some middle ground there where you can make money and that person can feel like they got a good deal. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on the current prices of retro video games. Have you noticed that they've been down? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Is it something you're concerned about? Do you think there's gonna be a crash? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you enjoyed the video or you learned something, make sure to hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps out. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.